The morning sun rose over New Busan Colony like it had for the past 30 years. Golden light swept across endless fields of green crops that fed 50,000 people. The air smelled of fresh earth and growing plants. Children laughed as they ran to school. Workers headed to the mines and factories that made the colony rich. Tai-ho stood on the observation deck of the defense center, drinking his morning coffee. He watched the busy streets below with pride. His little sister Mina had done amazing work as colony administrator. The settlement that started with just a few hundred brave souls now stretched across 3 valleys. "Another peaceful day," said his aide, a young man named Kang Min. Tai-ho nodded. The defense grid showed nothing but empty space around their world. No ships, no signals, no threats. Just the way he liked it. Down in the agricultural district, Jin-woo checked his hydroponic gardens. The tomatoes were growing perfectly. His wife Sora would be happy. Their twin children, 8-year-old Hyojin and Hyojun, loved helping in the gardens after school. "Dad, when can we plant the new seeds?" Hyojin asked, tugging on his work shirt. "Next week, little one." Jin-woo smiled. He had been a military engineer back on Earth, but farming felt more meaningful. Here he grew life instead of building weapons. In the colony center, Elder Dong-soo prepared for the morning council meeting. At 75, he was one of the original colonists who had arrived when this world was just rock and empty land. He remembered when they had to wear breathing masks and live in metal shelters. Now, children ran barefoot through grass their grandparents had planted. Mina hurried to the meeting, her tablet full of reports. Food production was up 12%. The new mining operation would bring in enough money to build the hospital they needed. Everything was going according to plan. "We should send a report to Earth," suggested Councilman Bae-ho. "They will be proud of what we have built," Mina agreed. She would record a message later showing how well the colony was doing. None of them saw the 12 dark ships that dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of their solar system. The Kethvar fleet moved, like silent death through space. Their ships were long and sharp, built for killing. Commander Velthok studied the readings from the human world with cold eyes. 50,000 of the soft skins, reported his tactical officer. "They have basic defenses, nothing that can threaten us," Velthok hissed in satisfaction. The Empire had found another nest of the disgusting humans. These creatures spread across the galaxy like disease, claiming worlds that belonged to superior species. The Council had been clear. Humans were vermin to be exterminated wherever found. "No warnings," Velthok ordered. "No surrender offers. We cleanse this world completely." The Kethvar ships powered up their plasma cannons and moved toward the peaceful planet below. Tai-ho was reviewing patrol schedules when every alarm in the defense center screamed at once. Red lights flashed. His coffee cup fell to the floor and shattered. "Sir, 12 ships dropping into attack formation." Kang Min's voice cracked with fear. "They are huge." The main screen showed the alien vessels. They looked like metal daggers, pointed at New Busan's heart. Tai-ho had never seen ships like these. They moved with deadly purpose. "Raise all shields. Power up the defense guns." Tai-ho grabbed his communicator. "Mina, we have hostile ships incoming. Start emergency evacuation." Procedures now, but it was already too late. The first plasma bolts hit the defense station like the fist of an angry god. The building shook. Lights went out. Kang Min screamed as sparks flew from exploding control panels. Across the colony, more plasma fire rained down. The hospital vanished in a ball of green flame. The school where children had been learning about Earth's history became a crater of melted stone. Jin-woo grabbed his children and wife as their house caught fire. "The emergency shelter, run!" But the shelters were already burning. The aliens fired without mercy, targeting everything that moved. Jin-woo watched his neighbors die as they ran for safety that no longer existed. Mina tried to send a distress signal from the colony center. Her fingers flew over the emergency transmitter controls. "Mayday, Mayday, this is New Busan Colony. We are under attack by unknown hostile forces." The building shook as plasma bolts hit nearby. Dust fell from the ceiling. Elder Dong-soo helped her with the controls, his old hand steady despite the chaos. "Keep transmitting," he said calmly. Earth must know what happened here. The emergency. Power failed. Mina switched to battery backup. The signal was weak, but it was all they had. Outside, the alien ships moved methodically across the sky. They destroyed everything humans had built. Farms burned, factories melted. The carefully tended gardens that had taken decades to grow were ash in minutes. Tejo crawled from the ruins of the defense center. His leg was broken and blood ran down his face. Most of his staff was dead. The defense guns had fired a few shots before being destroyed. He found a working communicator in the wreckage. With shaking hands, he activated the emergency recording system. "This is Captain Tejo of New Busan Colony Defense Force," he said into the device. "We are under attack by 12 alien warships. They gave no warning. They asked for no surrender. They are killing everyone." Plasma fire lit the sky. In the distance, he could see the aliens landing troops to hunt down survivors. "If anyone receives this message, remember us. Remember that 50,000 humans lived here. We built something beautiful. We hurt no one." His voice broke. "Tell Earth. Make them pay for this." The recording device was nearly out of power. Tejo looked at the burning colony one last time. Mina's final transmission cut through the static. Her voice was clear and strong despite the death all around her. "Tell them we died as humans. Tell them we were not afraid." The signal went dead. 6 hours after the attack began, New Busan Colony was gone. The green fields were blackened earth. The laughing children were silent forever. The dreams of 50,000 people had become smoke and ash. Commander Velthok ordered his ships to depart. In his log, he wrote, "Human infestation on Kepler 442b eliminated. World cleared for proper use." The Kethvar fleet jumped back into hyperspace, satisfied with their work. They had killed 50,000 humans without losing a single ship. They thought they had won a great victory. They had no idea what they had just started. The distress signal from New Busan traveled through the darkness of space for 7 days. It bounced from relay station to relay station, growing weaker with each jump. By the time it reached Earth, the signal was barely a whisper. Admiral Kyung-min was reviewing fleet reports in his office when the communication arrived. He was a tall man with gray hair and tired eyes. 30 years of military service had taught him to expect bad news, but nothing had prepared him for this. The message played on his screen. First came Tejo's broken voice describing the attack. Then Mina's final words, clear and brave even as death surrounded her. The admiral watched in silence as the colony burned. "Get me General He-jin and Defense Minister Young-soo," he said quietly. "Right now." Within an hour, Earth's military leaders sat in the emergency command room. The recording played again. No one spoke when it ended. The silence stretched like a wound. General He-jin, a woman who had fought in 3 wars, stared at the dark screen. 50,000 people, she whispered. Children, families, all dead. Defense Minister Young-soo was pale. "Who are these aliens? What do they want?" "Admiral." Kyung-min pulled up star charts. "The attack came from ships we have never seen before. They destroyed everything and left. No demands, no communication, just murder." "We need to send ships to investigate," General He-jin said. "Already done," the admiral replied. "But it will take weeks to reach New Busan. By then," he did not finish the sentence. They all knew what they would find. Within hours, news of the massacre spread across human space. Every news channel carried the story. Every world heard Mina's final words. The attack shocked humanity to its core. On Mars, Jae-sung was loading cargo containers when the news broke. He was a big man with strong hands and a gentle heart. He had never wanted to fight anyone, but as he watched the reports, something cold and hard grew in his chest. He walked to the nearest military recruitment office and signed up for the Navy. "Why do you want to join?" asked the recruiter, a woman named So Young. "Because someone has to answer for New Busan," Jae-sung said simply. He was not alone. Across human space, people made the same choice. Farmers became soldiers. Teachers joined the Navy. Doctors volunteered for military service. The recruitment offices could not handle the crowds. On Europa Station, Dr. Yunji abandoned her research on alien plant biology. She had spent 5 years studying how different species grew food. Now she wanted to study how to fight. "You are one of our best scientists," her supervisor said. "Why throw away your career?" Hyunji looked at the star charts on her wall. Each pin marked a human colony. "Because if we do not fight back, there will be no colonies left to grow food on." News of New Busan reached the outer rim worlds where life was hard and people were tough. On Frontier Station, Chang Ho heard the reports while drinking in a bar full of old soldiers. Chang Ho was 60 years old and scarred from the Centauri border wars. He had fought aliens before, but those had been honorable enemies who followed rules of war. They fought for territory, not genocide. "This is different," he told his drinking companions. "These new aliens do not want our worlds. They want us dead." His friends nodded. They had all fought in wars. They knew the difference between conquest and extermination. "We need to teach them about humans," said Park, a former Marine. "Show them what happens when you attack our families." Chang Ho stood up. His old bones ached, but his spirit was strong. "Then let us go to war." Within days, every human world was mobilizing. Ships were pulled from cargo runs and fitted with weapons. Old warships came out of storage. New vessels rolled off production lines faster than ever before. The largest military buildup in human history began. Admiral Kyung-min coordinated the response from Earth Defense Command. Reports flooded in from every corner of human space. Fleet. Admiral Sung-ho volunteered to come out of retirement. Captain Dalsu offered his entire merchant fleet for military conversion. "How many ships can we gather?" asked General Heijin. The admiral checked his reports. 2,000 confirmed, maybe 3,000 if we include converted civilian vessels. "Is that enough?" "It will have to be." The reports from New Busan's ruins finally arrived. The investigation team found exactly what they expected: total destruction. Every building was gone. Every person was dead. The aliens had been thorough, but they also found something else. Hidden in the wreckage of the colony center, they discovered Mina's personal computer. The hard drive was damaged but readable. On it were her last files, detailed scans of the alien ships. Dr. Insu, humanity's best weapons designer, studied the data. He was a quiet man who usually worked on peaceful projects. Now he focused all his genius on instruments of war. "Their ships are strong," he reported to the military council. "But they have weaknesses. I can design weapons to exploit them." "How long do you need?" Admiral Kyung-min asked. "Give me 6 months." "You have it." The shipyards of Earth, Mars, and Titan worked around the clock. New Busan's Fury, the largest warship ever built, took shape in Earth orbit. The massive dreadnought would carry weapons designed specifically to fight the aliens who had destroyed the colony. Captain Wu Jin volunteered to lead the first strike mission. He was young but brilliant with a reputation for impossible victories. His ship, Silent Vengeance, was built for stealth and reconnaissance. "We need to find their homeworld," Admiral Kyung-min explained. "Learn how they fight. Discover their weaknesses." "Consider it done," Wu Jin replied. As the months passed, humanity's anger hardened into cold determination. This was not about revenge anymore. It was about survival. If the aliens could destroy New Busan without warning, they could destroy any human world. Military academies worked overtime training new officers. Weapons factories produced missiles and plasma cannons day and night. The entire human economy shifted to support the war effort. On every world, monuments were built to honor New Busan's dead. Children learned their names in school. Adults wore black armbands in their memory. But the most important monument was the fleet itself. 3,000 ships gathered in the outer system, waiting for orders. Each vessel carried the hopes of humanity and the memory of 50,000 innocent dead. The largest military force in human history prepared to answer the aliens' message with one of their own. Admiral Kyung-min stood on the bridge of the flagship, Remembrance, and looked at the assembled fleet. Thousands of lights stretched across space, each one representing humanity's determination to never again be victims. "They think we are weak," he said to his staff. "They think they can kill us without consequence." He activated the fleet communication system. His words would reach every ship, every captain, every sailor. "Today we begin our answer to New Busan. These aliens will learn that humans do not forgive, we do not forget, and we do not die quietly." The fleet began to move toward enemy space. The war for humanity's survival had begun. Captain Wu Jin guided his ship Silent Vengeance through the empty space between stars. For 2 months they had traveled in complete silence toward enemy territory. His crew moved like ghosts, speaking in whispers, afraid that even breathing too loud might give them away. Navigator Minho checked their position for the 100th time that day. "We are approaching the outer edge of alien space, Captain." Wu Jin nodded. He was young for a ship captain, only 32, but the destruction of New Busan had changed everything. The Navy needed bold leaders willing to take risks. Weapons. Specialist Young-soo monitored the stealth systems. "Hull temperature is normal. Electronic signature is minimal. If anyone is out there, they cannot see us." Communications officer Ye Jin sat at her station with headphones on, listening to alien radio signals. She had learned their language from captured transmissions. What she heard made her angry. "They call us soft-skinned vermin," she reported quietly. "They talk about humans like we are insects to be stepped on." "Let them think that," Wu Jin said. "It will make our job easier." They found their first target 3 days later, a Kethvar mining station orbiting a dead planet. The facility was huge, with dozens of ships docked to its metal arms. Thousands of aliens worked inside, digging valuable minerals from the planet below. "Take us closer," Wu Jin ordered. "But keep us hidden." Silent Vengeance crept toward the station like a hunting cat. Her advanced stealth technology made her invisible to alien sensors. The crew watched and learned as Kethvar ships came and went. "Look at how they move," Minho observed. "No formation flying, no escorts. They are not expecting trouble." Jung-soo studied the alien ships through the targeting scope. "Their hulls are thick, but their engines are exposed. One good shot would disable them." For a week, they watched and recorded. They learned the aliens' patrol patterns, their communication, frequencies, their ship designs. Every piece of information would help the main fleet when it arrived. "They are confident," Wu Jin noted. "Too confident. They have never faced an enemy that could fight back." The team moved deeper into Kethvar space, finding more targets, military bases, supply depots, shipyards building new warships. Each location was mapped and studied. On the 10th day, they discovered something that made them all go cold. Ye Jin intercepted a transmission from a Kethvar admiral to his fleet commanders. She translated the message with shaking hands. "Orders from the High Council," she read. "Continue the cleansing operations. Eliminate all soft-skin colonies in sectors 7 through 12. Show no mercy. Leave no survivors." The bridge fell silent. Wu Jin felt ice in his stomach. How many human colonies are in those sectors? Minho checked the star charts. 8 colonies, maybe 200,000 people. "We have to warn them," Jung-soo said. "We cannot break radio silence," Wu Jin replied, though it hurt to say it. "If we send a message, every Kethvar ship in this region will know we are here." The captain faced an impossible choice: save his ship and mission, or try to save 200,000 lives. Either way, people would die. "Send a tight beam message to Earth Command," he decided. "Maximum encryption. Tell them what we learned." "Sir, that will take 3 weeks to reach Earth," Ye Jin warned. "Then we pray those colonies have 3 weeks." While Silent Vengeance continued its secret mission, the main human fleet prepared for war. Admiral Sung-ho had come out of retirement to command the largest naval force in history. His flagship, New Busan's Fury, bristled with new weapons designed by Dr. In-soo. The admiral was 60 years old, with white hair and eyes like steel. He had fought in every major conflict of the past 30 years. But this war felt different. This was about the survival of the human race. Status report, he ordered. Captain Dalsu, his chief of staff, checked the fleet roster. 3,000 ships ready for combat, 200,000 sailors and marines, enough supplies for 6 months of sustained operations. Intelligence. Reports? Intelligence Officer Boram stepped forward with a tablet full of data. Captain Wu Jin's reconnaissance mission has identified 17 major Kethvar installations. We estimate their total fleet strength at 5,000 ships. They outnumber us, Admiral Sung Ho noted. Yes, sir. But they are spread across a huge area. Most of their ships are older designs. They rely on overwhelming firepower rather than tactics. The Admiral studied the star charts. Red dots marked Kethvar bases. Blue dots showed human colonies that might be targets. The pattern was clear. The aliens were expanding steadily toward human space, destroying everything in their path. They fight like bullies, he said. Strong against the weak, but they have never faced an equal opponent. Dr. Insu joined the briefing to explain his new weapons. The scientist had worked day and night since New Busan's destruction. His eyes were red from exhaustion, but his voice was steady. We have developed plasma torpedoes, specifically designed to penetrate Kethvar. Shielding, he explained. Our new missile systems can target their exposed engine sections. Most importantly, we have learned to use their own tactics against them. Explain, Admiral Sung Ho requested. They rely on fear and overwhelming force. They attack civilian targets to break enemy morale. But humans do not break easily. When you attack our families, we do not surrender. We get angry. The briefing was interrupted by an urgent message from Earth. Captain Wu Jin's warning about the planned attacks on human colonies had finally arrived. Admiral Sung Ho read the report with growing fury. 8 more colonies, 200,000 more innocents. Sir, we can reach 3 of those colonies in time, Boram calculated. The others will have to defend themselves. The Admiral's jaw was tight. How long until we can begin our attack? The fleet can move in 72 hours, Dalsu reported. Make it 48. Back in enemy territory, Silent Vengeance continued its dangerous mission. They had discovered the location of the Kethvar High Command, a massive space station orbiting their capital world. That is where the orders came from, Yejin said, pointing at the heavily defended station. That is where they planned New Busan's destruction. Wu Jin studied the target through his ship's sensors. The station was enormous, protected by hundreds of warships and energy shields. It would be a tough nut to crack. Mark it for the fleet, he ordered. When Admiral Sung Ho arrives, he will want to pay them a visit. Jung Soo was monitoring alien communications when he heard something that made him go pale. Captain, I am picking up fleet movement. Large numbers of ships heading toward human space. How many? At least 300 vessels. They are moving toward the outer rim colonies. Wu Jin realized what was happening. The Kethvar were not content to wait. They were launching a major offensive against human territory. Set course for the rendezvous point, he ordered. Maximum speed. Sir, if we run at full power, they might detect us, Minho warned. It does not matter anymore. The fleet needs this information. Silent Vengeance broke her stealth and raced toward human space. Behind them, the Kethvar fleet continued its deadly advance. The race was on. 3 days later, Wu Jin's ship reached the human fleet. Admiral Sung Ho listened to the reconnaissance report with growing concern. They are not waiting for us to attack, he realized. They are coming for our colonies. What are your orders, sir? Asked Captain Dalsu. Admiral Sung Ho looked at the star charts. The Kethvar fleet was larger than expected and moving fast. If they reached the outer rim colonies first, millions more humans would die. We cannot let them repeat New Busan, he decided. All ships maximum speed. We intercept them before they reach our territory. The human fleet surged forward, 3,000 ships racing to stop an enemy advance. The real war was about to begin in Sao. His private quarters. Admiral Sung Ho looked at a picture from New Busan Colony. It showed children playing in green fields under a golden sun. Those children were dead now, along with their parents and grandparents. We are coming, he whispered, to their memory. Justice is coming. The human fleet struck like lightning from the darkness of space. Admiral Sung Ho had divided his forces into 3 groups, each attacking a different Kethvar border system at the same time. The aliens had never faced an enemy that could coordinate attacks across such vast distances. Commander Dae-hyun led the first wave in his fighter squadron. His 12 pilots flew small, fast ships designed to slip past enemy defenses. They had trained for months to work as a perfect team. "Target the sensor arrays," Dae-hyun ordered over the radio. "Blind them before the main fleet arrives." The fighters streaked toward Kethvar Station Beta 7, dodging plasma fire from surprised defenders. The aliens had been expecting to fight slow, heavy ships. These fast human fighters confused their targeting systems. Pilot So-min rolled her fighter past an explosion and fired her missiles at a sensor tower. "Direct hit. Their early warning system is down." Within minutes, the station was blind and deaf. The Kethvar defenders fired wildly into space, hitting nothing but emptiness. "Main fleet, this is Lightning Leader," Dae-hyun reported. "The target is ready for you." Captain Soo-jin brought her destroyer group out of hyperspace right on schedule. Her 5 ships appeared like vengeful ghosts, weapons already charged and ready to fire. "All ships target the defense platforms," she ordered. "Leave nothing standing." The human destroyers moved in perfect formation, their new plasma torpedoes punching through Kethvar shields like they were made of paper. Dr. Insu's weapons worked exactly as designed. Commander Velkoth, the Kethvar station commander, watched his defenses crumble in disbelief. He had commanded this base for 10 years and never faced a serious attack. "How are they penetrating our shields?" he demanded of his tactical officer. "Unknown, sir. Their weapons are different from anything in our database. Send a distress signal to the fleet." But the communication arrays were already destroyed. Velkoth's calls for help disappeared into the void. Within 30 minutes, Kethvar Station, Beta 7 was a floating wreck. Soo-jin's destroyers had lost only 1 ship while completely destroying a base that had taken the aliens years to build. "Move to the next target," Soo-jin ordered. "Do not give them time to recover." Similar attacks happened across the border zone. Fleet Admiral Hyun-woo commanded the main assault group, striking at 3 major Kethvar shipyards simultaneously. His ships moved like a surgical knife, cutting deep into enemy territory. "Remember the plan," Hyun-woo broadcast to his captains. "Fast strikes, maximum damage, then move to the next target. We do not stop to celebrate victories." Engineer Tae-young monitored the battle from the flagship's technical center. He had modified human weapons based on data from Silent Vengeance's reconnaissance mission. Every shot was designed to exploit specific weaknesses in Kethvar technology. "Their shields collapse after 3 hits from our new torpedoes," he reported. "Hull integrity fails after 2 more hits. These weapons are performing better than expected." The results were devastating for the Kethvar. In 1 day, humans destroyed more alien installations than they had lost in a century of expansion. Bases that had stood for decades became clouds of wreckage. Kethvar Admiral Thokmar received the first damage reports while reviewing plans for new colony raids. He could not believe what he was reading. 17 bases destroyed? In 1 day? He glared at his intelligence officer. "How is this possible?" "The soft skins have a large fleet, sir. Much larger than we expected. Their technology is more advanced than our reports indicated." "Impossible. We have conquered 100 species. None of them could match our ships." But the reports kept coming. Human forces were advancing on 3 fronts, destroying everything in their path. Worse, captured Kethvar prisoners were talking about human tactics and determination. "They do not fight like other species," reported Captain Sektar, one of the few survivors from Beta 7. "They coordinate perfectly. They show no fear. When we destroyed their colony, we thought we were teaching them to stay away from our territory. Instead, we taught them to hate us." The human advance continued for weeks. Captain Ji-hoon led the liberation of the Velthari system, where the Kethvar had enslaved an entire species for mining operations. "Do not harm the prisoners," Ji-hoon ordered his Marines. "These people have suffered enough under alien rule." The Velthari were insect-like creatures with 4 arms and compound eyes. They had been slaves for 50 years, working in dangerous mines to extract rare metals for Kethvar weapons. Queen Vesara, the eldest Velthari leader, approached Ji-hoon with trembling limbs. She had never seen humans before, but she had heard whispers about the species that fought back against the Empire. "You are the Softskins?" she asked in broken Kethvar language. "We are humans," Ji-hoon corrected gently. "And you are free." The liberation of enslaved worlds became a pattern. Everywhere, humans advanced. They found species that had been conquered and enslaved by the Kethvar Empire. These liberated peoples joined the human fleet, adding their own ships and knowledge to the growing alliance. Dr. Soo-young, serving as a diplomatic officer, established contact protocols with dozens of different species. She learned their languages and customs, building bridges between former enemies. The Kethvar Empire was built on fear and oppression, she reported to Admiral Sung-ho. "Every world they conquered is ready to rebel. We are not just fighting a war, we are leading a revolution." The turning point came at the Battle of Kethvar Secundus, their heavily fortified military stronghold. Admiral Myung-ho approached the system with 800 ships expecting a massive fight. Instead, he found a white flag of surrender floating in space. "This is Admiral Vorthak of the Kethvar Third Fleet," came a transmission in surprisingly good human language. "I request permission to discuss terms of surrender." Myung-ho was suspicious. This could be a trap. "Perhaps," agreed Captain Han Sol, his chief of staff. "But our sensors show their weapon systems are powered down." The meeting took place on a neutral station in the asteroid belt. Admiral Vorthak was an old Kethvar officer with scars from many battles. He looked tired and defeated. "Why do you wish to surrender?" Myung-ho asked. "Because continuing this war means the death of my species," Vorthak replied. "We thought you were weak like the others we conquered. We were wrong." "What changed your mind?" "You could have destroyed our homeworld by now. Instead, you liberate our slaves and treat prisoners well. You fight with honor while we fought with cruelty." The alien admiral's voice was heavy with shame. "Some of us remember when the Kethvar were better than this." Myung-ho considered carefully. "What are you offering?" "Information about our remaining defenses, safe passage for civilian evacuation ships, cooperation in rebuilding the worlds we destroyed. And in return, mercy for those who surrender willingly. War crimes trials for those who ordered atrocities but not genocide for our entire species." It was a reasonable offer. Myung-ho had no desire to become like the enemies he fought. "I will consider your proposal." The surrender of Vorthak's fleet marked the beginning of the Kethvar Empire's collapse. Other commanders saw which way the war was going and began switching sides. Some died fighting to the end, but many chose surrender over destruction. Young Kethvar officers, disgusted by their empire's brutality, secretly helped human forces. They provided intelligence about remaining strongholds and warned of planned attacks on civilian targets. Sub-Commander Velnara was one of these rebels. She had been off duty during the New Busan massacre, but the reports sickened her. When human ships appeared in her system, she helped them locate hidden weapon depots. "Why are you helping us?" asked Captain Park Jun, the human commander. "Because what we did to your colony was wrong," Velnara replied. "My people have forgotten the difference between strength and cruelty. Perhaps working with yours will help us remember." As human forces closed in on the Kethvar core worlds, panic spread through the Empire. Emperor Thekmor, who had ordered the New Busan attack without a second thought, now faced rebellion from his own military. "Bring me Admiral Velthak," he roared. "I want the human fleet destroyed." "Admiral Velthak is dead, Your Imperial Majesty," his aide reported nervously. "His ship was destroyed at the Battle of Rigel Station." "Then promote someone. Anyone. I will not be defeated by vermin." But it was too late. The empire that had ruled through fear for 1,000 years was crumbling. Their enemies were no longer weak prey, but apex predators with longer memories and sharper teeth. The human fleet regrouped at the edge of Kethvar core space. They had won every major battle and liberated dozens of worlds. But Admiral Sung-ho knew the hardest fight was still ahead. "They will defend their homeworld with everything they have," he told his staff. Expect them to fight like cornered animals. "What are your orders, sir?" asked Captain Dalsu. Admiral Sung-ho looked at the tactical display showing Kethvar Prime surrounded by defensive stations and minefields. Millions of aliens lived on that world, including many who had never supported the war. "We offer one chance. For surrender," he decided. "If they refuse, we finish what they started at New Busan." The final message was sent toward Kethvar Prime. "Surrender now, or face the consequences of your crimes." The answer would determine whether the war ended, with justice or total destruction. Emperor Thekmor stared at the human ultimatum with rage burning in his yellow eyes. Around him, his war council shifted nervously. The throne room that had once echoed with confident plans for conquest now felt like a tomb. "Surrender?" Thekmor's voice was a hiss of fury. "I am the ruler of 1,000 worlds. I will not bow to these soft-skinned vermin." Defense Minister Kolvex cleared his throat carefully. "Your Majesty, our intelligence reports indicate the human fleet numbers over 3,000 ships. Our own forces are scattered and demoralized." "Then gather them. Call every ship back to defend the homeworld." "Many of our commanders have already surrendered, Majesty. Admiral Vorthak has joined the humans. Even some of our core world governors are calling for peace negotiations." Thekmor's claws scraped against his throne. The empire he had inherited from his father was falling apart. How had the mighty Kethvar fallen so far so fast? The answer lay in the smoking ruins of 17 star systems. The humans had not simply defeated Kethvar forces. They had dismantled the empire piece by piece, freeing slaves and turning conquered worlds into allies. On Velthari Prime, Queen Visara addressed her liberated people from the steps of their ancient temple. Her forearms gestured toward the human ships in orbit above. "For 50 years we worked in their mines," she said, her voice carrying across the crowded square. "They called us slaves and treated us like animals. But these humans, these warriors who came from beyond the stars, they see us as equals." The crowd of insect-like beings clicked their approval. Many carried simple weapons, ready to fight alongside their liberators. Captain Ji-hoon stood beside the Queen, uncomfortable with the praise but understanding its importance. "Your Majesty, we cannot force you to fight. This is your choice." "Choice?" Vesara repeated the word like a prayer. "When did the Kethvar ever give us choice? We will stand with humanity." Similar scenes played out across dozens of worlds. The aquatic Murtai offered their powerful warships. The crystal-based silicons provided advanced shielding technology. The furry lockbears contributed their fierce warrior traditions. What had started as humanity's quest for justice had become a galactic revolution against tyranny. Admiral Sung-ho received reports from the liberated worlds while his fleet assembled for the final assault. The numbers were staggering. Over 2 million former slaves had joined the fight against their oppressors. "We are no longer just the human fleet," reported Intelligence Officer Boram. "We are the Liberation Alliance, 47 species fighting together." "And the Kethvar response?" "Emperor Thekmor has declared martial law. He is executing commanders who suggest surrender. But the rebels are growing stronger." In the Kethvar capital city, young Officer Melkira met secretly with other dissidents in an abandoned warehouse. She was only 25, part of a generation that questioned their empire's brutal ways. "The humans offer mercy to those who surrender," she whispered to the gathered conspirators. "They have war crimes trials, but they do not slaughter entire populations." Commander Veltari, an older officer with doubts about the war, nodded grimly. "I have seen the reports from the surrendered fleets. The humans treat prisoners according to galactic law. They even provide medical care. While our emperor orders the execution of anyone who speaks of peace," added Lieutenant Sekmore bitterly. The resistance movement spread through the Kethvar military like wildfire. Soldiers who had joined the empire to protect their people found themselves questioning orders to fight a hopeless war. Captain Wu Jin, still commanding Silent Vengeance, intercepted communications between rebel Kethvar units. His ship had become the fleet's primary intelligence vessel, using its stealth capabilities to monitor enemy movements. "The Kethvar fleet is splitting apart," he reported to Admiral Sung Ho. "Half are loyal to the Emperor. The other half want to surrender. Some are fighting each other. A civil war within their ranks," the Admiral mused. "Can we contact the rebels directly?" "Already working on it, sir." Dr. Su Young had learned enough of the Kethvar language to serve as a translator. When contact was established, she found herself speaking to Commander Veltari. "We do not want to see our homeworld destroyed," the Kethvar officer explained over the encrypted channel. "But Emperor Thekmor will never surrender. He would rather see every city burn than admit defeat." "What do you propose?" Su Young asked. "Help us remove him from power. We have enough loyal forces to stage a coup, but we need time. Can your fleet wait at the edge of our system for 3 days?" It was a risky proposition. Delay might allow the Emperor to strengthen his defenses or call in reinforcements, but Admiral Sung Ho understood that the best victory would come from within. 3 days, he agreed. "But if you fail, we will finish this war ourselves." The coup began at midnight on Kethvar Prime. Rebel forces led by Commander Veltari moved swiftly to secure key government buildings. They had spent weeks planning, identifying loyal officers and cutting off the Emperor's communication lines. Emperor Thekmor was awakened by plasma fire outside his palace. His personal guards were already fighting rebel troops in the corridors. "Majesty, we must evacuate," urged Captain Morkex, his security chief. "Never. I will die before I surrender my throne." The battle for the palace lasted 6 hours. Thekmor's loyalists fought fiercely, but they were outnumbered and outgunned. The Emperor made his final stand in the throne room, firing his personal weapon until the end. When the shooting stopped, Commander Veltari stood over the tyrant's body. She felt no joy, only sadness for what her people had become under his rule. "Send word to the human fleet," she ordered. "Tell them the war is over." Admiral Sung Ho received the message while reviewing plans for the assault on Kethvar Prime. The news that the Emperor was dead and rebels controlled the government changed everything. "Sir, we are receiving a transmission from the planet," reported Communications Officer Ye Jin. "They want to arrange a formal surrender." The meeting took place aboard the human flagship Remembrance. Commander Veltari led a delegation of Kethvar officials who had opposed the war. She was nervous but determined to make amends for her people's crimes. "We surrender unconditionally," she said, offering her sidearm to Admiral Sung Ho as a symbol of defeat. The Admiral accepted the weapon but immediately handed it back. "Keep it. You will need it to maintain order while we organize the transition." Veltari was surprised. "You trust us with weapons? You proved your honor by stopping this war yourself. That is worth something." The formal surrender ceremony took place 3 days later. Representatives from all 47 Liberation Alliance species attended. Fleet Admiral Hyunwoo read the terms of surrender, while cameras broadcast the event across the galaxy. "The Kethvar Empire officially ceases to exist," he announced. "In its place, we establish the Kethvar Republic, dedicated to peace and cooperation with all species. But justice still needed to be served." Judge Junho arrived from Earth to oversee the war crimes trials. The courtroom was filled with survivors from liberated worlds, all seeking answers for decades of oppression. The trials revealed the full scope of Kethvar brutality. Hundreds of worlds conquered, millions enslaved, entire species driven to extinction. The evidence was overwhelming and horrifying. Many former Kethvar commanders were found guilty and sentenced to prison. But the judges also showed mercy to those who had tried to limit civilian casualties or who had surrendered peacefully. Admiral Vorthak, who had been among the first to surrender, testified against his former colleagues. "We told ourselves we were bringing order to the galaxy," he said sadly. "In truth, we were spreading death and suffering." Dr. Yunji, who had left her research to join the war effort, now found herself studying Kethvar biology to understand their aggressive nature. Her work would help design rehabilitation programs for former soldiers. "They are not naturally evil," she reported to the Alliance Council. "Their culture simply never developed concepts of mercy or coexistence. They can learn, but it will take time." The reconstruction of the former empire began immediately. Wunshik, a human diplomat, worked with reformed Kethvar leaders to establish new governments on liberated worlds. Democracy is a strange concept to us, admitted former General Polkar, who now served as an elected mayor. We are used to following orders from above, but perhaps it is time to try something new. Captain Dalsu oversaw the dismantling of Kethvar weapons factories and slave camps. The work was slow and difficult but necessary for lasting peace. Every chain we break, every weapon we destroy makes the galaxy a safer place, he told his troops. The most moving moment came when survivors from New Busan Colony's sister settlements visited Kethvar Prime. Yunho, whose family had been killed in the massacre, planted a tree from earth in the former emperor's garden. This tree will grow strong, he said, tears in his eyes, just as peace will grow strong if we tend it carefully. Commander Veltari, now serving as the Republic's interim president, watched the ceremony with mixed emotions. Can you forgive us for what we did to your people? Forgiveness will take time, Yunho replied honestly, but we can start with justice and work toward understanding. As the months passed, the former Kethvar Empire transformed. Schools taught cooperation instead of conquest. Former soldiers became farmers and builders instead of destroyers.